So until we know what the enemy can do to counter, to negate, which is worse actually, until we know what the enemy can do to negate our damage, we will always be fighting blind. So we need to know how many condition removals each class has, the cooldown, what it does, and other special abilities that prevent us from achieving victory. So I took the liberty of making this, I don't know what these are, photos, blah blah. So I'm just going to go into it and I'm going to explain things as I go by because they're really relevant. And if you want to be a master in PvP, you're going to have to know all of these by heart. If you are more of like a medium casual towards advanced, all you need to know is the recommended course of action and it will make perfect sense. So we are going to look at warrior, condition removals, and I sorted them by source, the name, the effect, and the skill cooldown. So from weapons, the warrior has, from the weapon Warhorn, he has a skill called Charge and a skill called Call to Arms. AoE Swiftness plus Cure, Chill, Cripple, and Immobilize, plus converts one condition into one boon if treated with Quick Breath. Call to Arms does AoE Vigor and AoE Weakness, plus converts one condition into one boon if treated with Quickening Breath. So basically, why I showcase this is to demonstrate that you can learn a lot about the enemy if you see their weapon, so you have a tactical advantage. Also, it converts one condition, which is not a lot. Also, since you see that it gives AoE Swiftness, AoE Vigor, AoE Weakness and stuff, it's more of a support weapon. So whenever you see a warrior with a Warhorn, you have the knowledge he's not going to do a lot of damage, he's more of a support type thingy. So you can assess the level of threat the target poses on the battleground. So moving on from utilities, we have Mending, which is in the healing slot. Heal plus Cure 3 conditions, 20-second cooldown. Also Signet of Stamina, you can see the Signet, so keep in mind for that. Has the passive endurance regeneration and Cure all condition, 45-second cooldown. Shake it off, break stun plus Cure one condition AoE. From traits, Shrug it off. It's basically break stun plus Cure condition AoE, 30-second cooldown. Cleansing Ire, adrenaline gain when hit plus Cure one condition every bar of adrenaline spent, has no cooldown. As you can see, both of these traits I've noted down. One of them is in vitality plus boon duration, and the second one is in a trait line that has toughness and healing power. So again, to have access to these, they need to go not full offensive. So far, if we take a look at this entire timetable, you see that they have a few ways to deal with one condition, but not many ways to deal with a lot of conditions. In fact, they have only one Signet with a 45-second cooldown that can cure more than one condition. So now you will finally understand what condition overload is for. Every time you have more than 2 in this case, actually let's say 4, since Mending can cure 3 conditions. Every time you put 4 conditions on the warrior, basically you've overloaded him. He cannot cleanse that. So he can cleanse everything once every 45 seconds, but after that, every time you put more than 4 conditions on him, he will be unable to cleanse them. So this is fucking amazing. Now you know how you need to fight against the warrior. It's not that simple. We have some things we need to worry about. We have the Berserker stance, and as you can see, I put a really big icon on it because I make the mistake of confusing it with something else sometimes, and I believe a lot of people have no idea what Berserker stance even is. You can read the entire description. Basically, it's bugged at the moment and gives full immunity to conditions. Has 8-second duration, 60-second cooldown. So what the warrior will do, will cleanse everything you put on him, then go into immunity, and he will kill you. So what you need to do is do a condition overload, either with the Signet. Now you see the importance of the Signet. Either with Signet or by a normal combo, force him into using everything he has, including the Berserker stance, and then you run for your life. And once he's done with that, he'll have nothing left to give you. So you need to survive at least 10-12 seconds, and then you have a chance to fight the warrior. So you're going to be stuck in the fight with the warrior for at least 12 seconds, since he will dodge and stun lock you and maybe kill you and stuff like that. Another thing to watch out for is shield stance. Blocks attacks, 3-second duration, 30-second cooldown. Use some auto attacks or use Death Shroud number 2, since it's unblockable, and you can do some chilling and some bleeds on the target. Also, one thing to consider is Superior Rune of Lisa, if the warrior will be using Superior Rune of Lisa. The lowest cooldown elite will be the Signet of Rage, 60-second cooldown, cure all condition plus gain all boons for 5 seconds. So basically he has the chance to remove all conditions twice, but that's twice every minute. So 8 seconds of invulnerability and twice full condition removal. Anytime between that is yours, as long as you don't die for no reason. Okay, happy hunting warriors. Moving on. Okay, the ranger. From weapons he has nothing. So basically, no matter what you think you know about the ranger, what weapon he used and stuff, no weapon is going to cleanse conditions. But from utilities he has something called Healing Spring. It's in the healing slot. That's heal plus regeneration plus AoE, removes one condition every 3 seconds for 15 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. So basically half of the time he will keep removing condition, and that's really annoying. Second utility, Signet of Renewal, passive cure one condition every 10 seconds, active AoE, transfer all conditions to your pet plus break stun, 60-second cooldown. Shake it off if he has the bear pet, cure one condition AoE. Okay, from traits he has Empathic Bond, transfer 3 conditions to your pet every 10 seconds. And it's in a trait line that has toughness and condition damage, and a lot of rangers use condition damage builds anyway. So as you can see, the ranger doesn't really have a lot of condition removals. And a lot of necromancers, I know a lot of necromancers have a really difficult time in fighting spirit rangers. It would seem, even I thought some time ago, that they have infinite condition removals. No, they just keep transferring everything they have to their pet, and they put the stupid well on the ground. So between transferring to the pet and the stupid well on the ground, that is half of the time they keep removing conditions, and in the time they're not removing condition, they're dodging, and you manage to do a proper burst stacking on the target, and then all conditions are gone, and you think, oh my fucking god. They actually transfer everything to the pet. So what you need to do is fight the ranger AoE style. And lucky us, we have sigils that do AoE bleeding, and a lot of skills that do AoE bleeding, and Death Shroud, that when you go into Death Shroud, it does AoE bleeding, and a lot of AoE bleeding all around. So you fight him with AoE bleeding to overload the pet's capability to cure. So basically, if you stack 10 stacks of bleeding on the ranger and 10 stacks of bleeding on the pet, when he transfers all the conditions to his pet, the pet will have 20. And with the additional damage you can do with life transfer and blah blah blah, the pet will die. So basically you heavily crippled the ranger if his pet dies. The second thing is you must fear him out of Healing Spring. You really must fear him out of Healing Spring and do a condition overload right after that. If the Healing Spring is gone, if he doesn't attempt to come back into it. Also, don't CC the ranger too much. You need to always keep an AoE fear, the staff fear, for when the ranger goes down, because it's really hard to stomp. He revives really fast with the pet, and if he has the Spirit of Nature, as you can see, I showcase the skill here so it sticks in your mind. Summons the spirit to heal, blah blah blah, and can revive self. And that's really stupid, because you got him down barely, and he gets himself up and puts another Healing Spring down, and then you're going, Spirit Rangers. And you cry about it on the forums. Also, what you need to know, Superior Rune of Lisa. So, happy hunting rangers. Moving on. Okay, thieves, this is fun. Condition removals from weapons, sword, infiltrator strike, and shadow return. Basically he teleports to an enemy, does an immobilize, some damage, and then he can teleport back and cures one condition. And this has no cooldown, it only requires initiative. And some of you might know that there are a lot of thieves that keep blinking around and you can never pin them down, and all the conditions on them seem to disappear. You'll see why. So from utilities, hide in the shadow, healing slot, stealth 3 seconds plus regeneration, heal, cure, burning, poison, bleeding, 30-second cooldown, big cooldown. Shadow step, first kill, and shadow return. This is sort of like the sword skill, only it's a utility, so a lot more blinking from the thief, and it's quite annoying. Upon returning to the initial location, it cures 3 conditions and breaks stun, 50-second cooldown. Signet of agility, passively increase precision, actively refills endurance, plus cure a condition for each nearby ally, 30-second cooldown. Not a lot of thieves use this, but it's still worthy to know. Shadow's Embrace, from traits, just one trait. You have to go into toughness and healing power trait line, and removes one condition every 3 seconds while in stealth, no cooldown. Instantly removes one condition upon entering stealth and continues to do so every 3 seconds. So okay, this is really, since it's a number 4, it's an adept trait. I hope I'm not mistaken about this. I did test it out a bit. I've spoken with quite a few thieves and they don't even know. So by my calculations, based on what I've seen, you can remove conditions if you stay in stealth for 3 seconds, you remove condition just when you enter, and on the 3rd second you remove an extra condition. So basically every stealth that lasts 3 seconds removes 2 conditions. So I've taken the liberty of displaying all the thief skills that stealth, so we get a better understanding of how the thief removes conditions. So based on everything we've seen until Shadow Refuge, it appears the thief is more or less invulnerable to 1 or 2 stacks of conditions. You keep putting 1 or 2 conditions on the thief and the thief will keep removing them forever. You'll never kill him like that, especially since he removes by stealthing. The thing you have to worry about is the hide in the shadows, because it removes 2 conditions plus the healing, regeneration, and cure, burning, poison, bleeding. So basically 5 condition removal on 30-second cooldown. But besides that, and the superior rune of Lisa, which a lot of thieves use, the thief is highly vulnerable to condition overload. The one thing that saves them from that is Shadow Refuge. They go into Shadow Refuge and they have their 2nd full cleanse, so that's a really big problem. So whenever you have a chance to pin a thief down, like use a fear and a condition overload, if he already used his superior rune of Lisa, he will immediately go Shadow Refuge. If you put an AoE fear on Shadow Refuge and you push him out of it, he will have nothing left. So this is the secret of the thieves, and you can't really know all of this unless you play a thief, because they remove conditions while stealthing, so you never see when they remove. All you see is the thief disappearing and coming back 1 second later without any conditions on them, or 2 seconds later without any conditions on them. You'll be like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Now you know. So happy hunting thieves. Engineers. So from weapons we have the elixir gun, which cures quite a lot of conditions on a really small cooldown, but only allies. And also a super elixir from the elixir gun, which AoE cures 1 condition, does some healing and some pulsing health, and 20-second cooldown. Basically it's a support build, and it does cure a lot of condition, but doesn't help the self, doesn't help the engineer that much. From utilities we have healing turret and cleansing burst. Basically it's a 2-stage skill and it cures 2 condition. Elixir C, convert all conditions into random boons, 40-second cooldown. Drop antidote, cure 1 condition, 50-second cooldown. From traits, cleansing formula, throwing or consuming elixir removes 1 condition, transmute, 8% chance to convert incoming conditions into boons and these two have no cooldown. So as you can see, they have only one full condition removal. They have a few minor one condition removal, so they are quite vulnerable to condition overload. But there's a catch. As you can see in the pictures I have displayed here, you have to worry about Elixir S, which evades all attacks for 3 seconds, 70-second cooldown. If he has a certain trait, he can use this twice, so he can evade a lot, basically evade 6 seconds, and that really prevents you from doing a combo. Also, you have to worry about blocks all attacks for 3 seconds. That's a lot of ways in which the engineer can stop you from putting further conditions on the target. But that's not even the bad part. Toss Elixir R, cure one condition, +1 if traded with blah blah blah. Pulses once every second for 6 seconds. Each pulse adds 20% of the down player's health. Has 120-second cooldown. Basically, you kill an engineer and he comes back to life. And if it's traded with inertial converter, if he throws it just as he reaches 25% health, he gets a resetted cooldown. So basically, you kill him, he revives instantly, and he already has it off of cooldown. And you kill him again, and he can revive instantly again, which is so fucking annoying, I know. But it gets worse. It actually gets worse. They have a trait called automated response. Thank God it's way deep into the alchemy. It's a Grandmaster trait that gives them permanent immunity versus all new conditions once they reach 25% health. Basically, if your combo doesn't get him from 25% health to nothing, you're not going to kill him anyway. So how you need to play against engineer is not worry about getting the engineer to 25% health, because he's weak until then from a defensive point of view, but he's really strong under 25% health because of the things you see displayed before you. So you need to do a condition overload and all the CCs in the world. Once the engineer gets to like 26% health, 26%, and attempt to put him in the ground. If that doesn't work, just leave. That's just how it is. The engineer with the automated response, it's a heavy counter to the Necromancer and to all condition classes in general. Just leave. He's not going to have too much damage and he's not going to be able to do too much to you. No reason to stick around. So I hope this will help you in your struggles against engineers a bit more. There's really not much you can do except prepare in advance for once they turn God mode and 25% health. Okay, moving on. Mesmers. Condition removals from weapons. Torch, stealth plus AoE blind, AoE burn on stealth and cure one condition if traded with cleansing conflagration. And the second torch skill basically creates an illusion that confuses foes and gives retaliation to allies, and cures one condition if traded with cleansing conflagration. Not a lot of people use torch, and one condition removal is not that much. From utilities you have the null field, which dispels boons from enemies and cures conditions on allies. 40-second cooldown. Null field is quite problematic. Phantasmal Disenchanter, cure one condition every 4.5 seconds untraded, 3.6 seconds traded, 20-second cooldown. Arcane Thievery, sentry conditions to the target, steal 3 boons from the target. Mantra of Resolve, Power Cleanse, charge a spell that cures 2 conditions, and you cure the 2 conditions. Okay, from traits, Cleansing Rescription, activating a signet removes 1 condition, Mender's Purity, remove 1 condition when you heal, remove 1 condition AoE when you shatter. Additional conditions are removed with each consecutive illusion that shatters. This trait is really problematic. But as you can see, Mesmers don't have too many options. They have Null Field or Arcane Thievery that really helps with conditions, but most Mesmers don't run both of them. And both of these skills have a really high cooldown. So many Mesmers, especially support Mesmers with Vitality and Healing Power, support Mesmers are really hard to bring down. So you need to watch out for the Null Field. As you can see, there are some traits that can really amplify the null field's effectiveness, so you need to fear the Mesmer out of the null field. Otherwise, it's not going to end well for you. And the second way in which the Mesmer can deal with the conditions is with shattered conditions trait. Basically, every time they shatter, they can remove like 4 conditions AoE. And with Illusionary Invigoration, they can recharge all their shatter skills at 50% health on a 90-second cooldown. So they have 4 shatter skills, as you can see, 15, 30, 45 and 60-second cooldown. As long as they have illusions, they can keep shattering and curing themselves, but that's more of a support build. So all of these skills, as you can see, they have either a high cooldown and can be CC out of, or they are highly dependent on illusions, that to get a lot of illusions over and over again, you need to use high cooldowns as well. So the bottom line is you need to CC out of null field and do a condition overload after that, and have a high chill uptime, because it really messes with the Mesmer, because he cannot combo twice. Okay, happy hunting, Mesmers. Okay, Elementalist condition removals from weapons. Fuck me, there are a lot. For the Scepter we have the Phoenix. A lot of you know this spell. It's damage in a line, explosion at the end, then remove 1 condition and blah blah blah. Focus, magnetic wave. A lot of Elementalists recently started using Focus for another really useful skill. So it removes 3 conditions. From staff we have Healing Rain. You're almost never going to see an Elementalist with a staff in PvP, so don't even worry about it. Cleansing Wave from Dagger. AoE healing plus cure 1 condition. Also, if you're treated with Evasive Arcana, you can obtain a free usage on dodge with a 10-second cooldown. So cure 1 condition plus cure 1 condition, not fun. From utilities, Ether Renewal. Healing slot. Heal yourself and cure a condition with every pulse. It pulses 8 times over 4 seconds. 15-second cooldown. Basically, full condition removal every 15 seconds. How nice. Cleansing Fire. Burn plus cure 3 conditions, 40-second cooldown. Not many are going to rely on this. Signet of Water. Passive cure a condition every 10 seconds. Active chill. I haven't seen many people using Signet of Water, but it can happen. Cleansing Water. Cure 1 condition when granting regeneration to self or ally. 5-second cooldown. And Cleansing Wave, cure 1 condition from self and allies when attuning to water. So as you can see, the Elementalist is has God mode against 1 or 2 conditions. He can dodge, he can attune to water, he can use focus to heal, Scepter if he has the Scepter. So a lot of ways with real low cooldown in which he can keep removing 1 or 2 slots of conditions, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So on top of that, they have something called Mist Form, and they have something called Obsidian Flash. So Mist Form breaks time plus invulnerability for 3 seconds, 75-second cooldown. This skill locks all skills, so they can't really do anything except be a mist. And Obsidian Flash focus skill 5, invulnerability for 5 seconds with a 15-second cooldown, and this skill does not lock skills. And since it's an instant cast, he can use this while channeling. So the Elementalist is quite vulnerable to condition overloading. But the catch is, every 15 seconds he has a full cleanse. So you need to stop that Ether Renewal. You need to fear the Ether Renewal, otherwise you're never going to kill the Elementalist, ever. Between the invulnerabilities and the high mobility and the heals and the jumping around, you're never going to kill him unless you fear when he's using Ether Renewal. And the in-game animation is, depending on what he's attuned to, they will have spinning spheres around them. So if it's attuned to fire, fire spheres. If it's attuned to water, water spheres. So fear. One thing to note is that they might use the Ether Renewal and put Obsidian Flash on top of that, so they cannot be CC'd. So they have 1 full cleanse, 2nd with Superior Rune of Lissa. Not many Elementalists use that. but after that he is yours, as long as you keep fearing his ether renewal. If you don't fear the ether renewal, so that's their biggest secret. So now that you know it, happy hunting, Elementalist. Moving on. Necromancer, condition removals from weapons. Dagger, Deathly Swarm, bouncing attack that blinds and transfers 3 condition to the target, 18-second cooldown, small cooldown, nice defensive offensive skill, I always enjoy this. Staff, Putrid Mark, AoE damage plus transfer 3 conditions to the target, 25-second cooldown. Consume conditions, healing slot, heal plus cure all conditions and extra heal for every condition consumed, 25-second cooldown. Not on a 15-second cooldown, but it's far harder to be interrupted. Okay, other utilities, Plague Signet, AoE transfer 1 condition from ally to self every 3 seconds, send all conditions to the target and break stun, 60-second cooldown. There's not many builds that use the Plague Signet at the moment, you're not going to find it anyway. Well of Power, stability and break stun, plus AoE convert 1 condition into 1 boon every 5 seconds, 50-second cooldown. Well of Power. Lich Form Grim Spectre. This is a really funny skill, because apparently no one fucking knows what this skill does. It's basically damage and removes all boons from foes and all conditions from allies on a 30-second cooldown, so you're only going to use this once. But yeah, it removes all boons from foes instantly and all conditions from allies. It's a really nice skill if you're ever doing a power build. Shrouded removal. Cure 1 condition when you enter Death Shroud. No cooldown. Nah. Fetid consumption. AoE transfer 1 condition to your minions every 10 seconds. So yeah, if you're running a minion master build, that's quite useful. So when you're fighting a Necromancer, what you need to realize is that consume conditions, the in-game animation is darkness spins around the target, so if you really look for it, you can find it. If you CC that, as you've seen before I've done in the video, you put the Necromancer at a really high disadvantage. When it comes to his other ways of dealing with conditions, he has Deathly Swarm and Putrid Mark. It's hard to dodge the Putrid Mark, it's easier to dodge the Deathly Swarm. So basically you dodge the Deathly Swarm and you allow the Putrid Mark to hit you, because it's going to hit you anyway, and you transfer the conditions back to the Necromancer. So not really a too complex thing. Just dodge the Deathly Swarm and use the Putrid Mark to your advantage and CC consume conditions. If you don't CC the consume conditions, basically he resets the fight. With the heal he receives from every conditions he put on himself, resets the fight. Also, I'm guessing a lot of Necromancers will be using Superior Rune of Lisa after I release this guide. So another thing to watch out for is the Golem Charge, which cures all condition and gain all boons for 5 seconds, which really isn't anything you can do about it. That's why I made the build this way. So just something to note. But you can still gain the upper hand if you follow the other steps that I have discussed here. So happy hunting, Necromancers. Okay, last will be the Guardian, and I left this for last since it's more complicated than so many people would like to admit. Most people think that the Necromancer is supposed to counter the Guardian, but in truth, a proper bunker Guardian doesn't really get countered by anything. If we take a look at all the condition removals that the Guardian has, he has so many, from Torch, from Focus, from Signet, from Shouts, from the Tome of Courage, from... You will have a really hard time of predicting what he has. You might see the Torch, you might see the Focus, okay, but you don't really know what utilities he has, because he has quite a few. Also the traits, cure 3 conditions, cure 1 condition, cure 1 condition, allies affected by shouts, cure 1 condition, 1 boon. Even just by looking at this, you will see cure 1 condition, 1 condition, 1 condition. The Guardian is really strong at curing low amount of condition slots. So they are going to try to prevent you from doing a condition overload on them. And even if you do a condition overload, they are going to use Contemplation of Purity, which breaks stuns and converts all condition on self into boons, so a full cleanse. And if there are 2 guardians with Save Yourself, they have 2, 3, 4 full cleansing. 4 full cleansing if they have Save Yourself and Contemplation of Purity. 4 full cleansing on a 60-second cooldown. You might think that's a lot, but they can cycle through, and yeah, not fun. The focus and the torch is going to be a problem because the focus has something more special to it. That something more special is in page 2. Basically, a guardian will blind and CC you, but most importantly, they will block and dodge and invulnerable, but mostly block. They will block so much that you can never do a proper condition overload, and they will always keep you at 1 or 2 condition slots, which is exactly what they are specialized in countering. So if you don't overload a guardian, you will never kill it, and they don't allow you the opportunity of overloading. So healing slot, Shelter, blocks all attacks while healing, 2 seconds of full blocking. Focus. As you can see, the focus has a condition removal and blind and bounces 4 times. Basically, it can remove like 3 conditions, 25-second cooldown, and it also has a block the next 3 attacks, 45-second cooldown. If they have a mace, block the next 1 attack. And they keep using these blocks. Whenever you try to apply condition overload, they will try to block your Signet of Spite, which is really annoying. And to make it even worse, they have renewed focus, which makes them invulnerable. So they do a full cleanse and then they become invulnerable, and then they block some more and they block some more and they knock you down, and it's just a mess. On top of that, they have skills that block projectiles, and some of those skills, if you try to come close, they will knock you down. Like for example, Shield of Absorption, it pushes foes away, 40-second cooldown. On top of that, they have Aegis, blocks the next incoming attack. I don't know why we have blocks and Aegis, because it's sort of the same thing, but let's say. So they have a lot of skills that gives Aegis. So block all attacks, block 3 attacks, block 1 attack, Aegis once or twice, invulnerable, more projectile blocking, all the while they blind you and stun you and knock you down with different tools. They won't allow you to do a proper condition stacking. So the suggested course of action would be, understand that there is no easy way. So take your time, see what he's doing, memorize from what I've done here as much as possible, especially the things that I provided an icon for. They are really, really important, because if you unload your conditions on the Guardian at the wrong time, so mix the auto attacks on Aegis and other forms of blocking with the condition overload. Try to squeeze the condition overload while the Guardian is CC, because you're going to squeeze a fear in there. So have chill on the Guardian as much as possible, because they have a lot of skills and they can combine them together to have the majority of these. As you can see, focus and mace and the sword and the shield, for example, they will have a lot of blocks and blinds and a lot of stuff, but they are on a high cooldown. Some of them are on a high cooldown, so eventually you will have an opening. You just have to keep persisting and do the right things at the right time and have chill uptime as much as possible. You have to remember that sustain in this case is better than bursting. You're never going to burst the Guardian. He's going to do a full cleanse, full block, invulnerable, full heal and other stupid crap, just going to annoy you. And now you have no cooldowns, you can't really run away, he's knocked you down, a thief appears on the horizon, and this is basically, I just described the drama. So so you are going to wear him down. What you need to know is if he has a lot of these skills, he will not be doing a lot of damage. So it's not really important to focus him down. Try to kill his team members, and then together you guys are going to focus the Guardian and kill him. If he doesn't have all of these skills, if he has a great sword and whatever else, he's not going to have access to a lot of blocking, and he's vulnerable to condition overload, so just overload and be done with it. So with that being said, I hope this will make your struggles against bunker guardians especially a bit more forgiving. So happy hunting, guardians. And it's 9 p.m. Now you will come to understand the name behind this video. People will not fear you, they will not remember your name because you're OP. People will not remember you because you have some build. People will remember you because you've owned them, because you have a lot more knowledge than them. So that is why people are going to fear you for your skill. It brings me great joy that I am going to have a lot of skilled minions out there. And now you can see why I said that I made the guide that even I will use for myself. Everything has come together into one single build, into one single perfected guide, and it all makes sense. The condition overload, the weakness, the blinds, the chills, the everything. So I realized that because of your newfound knowledge, not just in terms of making a proper tournament level build, but also in how you use the build, fighting styles versus each individual class. This is going to generate a wave of really strong necromancers that are going to dominate, especially in the beginner, medium skill level. So you are going to get called OP Nob a lot, and there's going to be a really big commotion on the forums. So every time you see something like this, kindly direct them to this video so they can realize for themselves how you kill them, and also to see how they can counter and prevent their downfall. So this is my pride and joy, the biggest project I have made so far, the best PvP guide for a conditionmancer possible. I hope I have achieved this goal. It all depends on how you guys are going to do after you've seen this guide. So I know it took a really long time to make since my last video. Some of you know that I was sick for a while and I just couldn't go on for certain reasons. I'm going to make a separate video just for this, and maybe it's not going to be my last video, who knows. I had a lot of ideas. Even now you can see a small teaser of sort of the side project I wanted to work on. I wanted to start a series with funny moments in PvP, how I own people, and mix all the moments in which I severely own people and rage about it with all the moments in which I get owned so heavily with absolutely no counter. And this serves on two fronts, like showcases the weaknesses of the necromancers, both for people who call us OP and for balancing issues, and at the same time serves as a fun factor. And I really enjoy making people really frustrated. Sort of professional flaw, if you will. I personally have nothing against this warrior. I know he's a streamer, I've been to his stream, he seems like a decent guy. He just caught me at a bad moment. He was using bugged skills to gain the upper hand and he was dying and calling me up for it. So I decided to make a small example out of him. So I was chasing him around a bit, and in the next game he found himself opposing me again, and by that time I realized his playstyle and I was owning him much easier. So before I leave, I want to give a shout out to all the people that made this guide possible, all the fans that have supported me morally. My guild accessum, a lot of the members in the guild accessum have really aided me in testing a lot of the skills that Wiki got wrong, or the skills description was too vague. So I also want to give a shout out to Guild Life and the Levitating Cat for letting me borrow their arena so I can do more testing in it. Shin, Nesrin. I also want to give a big shout out to a fellow PvP necromancer, and I forgot your name and I'm going to leave it on an annotation as soon as you come online, so I realized which one of the necromancers are you. He was the guy I was discussing a lot of PvP tactics with. He has a lot of experience, and basically he nudged me into the direction of a condition overload. He knows more about other classes, and because of what he was saying, I decided to really take this seriously and learn more than him about all the classes. So the idea the idea of finding all the condition removals, all the condition counters came from us brainstorming together. So you were a big contribution, and through our discussions this build has been made possible. So thanks again. And as for the rest of you minions, feel free to go wild, and hopefully I will see you guys in the near future. But if not, as always, enjoy your gaming and have a great day.
Point B belongs to you.
Adrenaline surging.
The enemy has point A.
Stand.